Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bowling Green podcast. It's been a while. How many weeks has it been? A few.
2 weeks?
2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Nice.
Anyway, we're back and more alive than ever.
Speak for yourself.
We have been very busy with work, etc., etc. There's been lots of events going on. Yesterday, we had Cole Benjamin, better known as Sargon of Akkad. He came in and did a talk. I kind of interviewed him for 20 minutes, and then
It was
I
very
think there was a
good.
question and answer session.
Very good interview.
I was repping the Bowling Green podcast. I wasn't, but you know, I should have plugged it. I
Should've.
should have. Should
Yeah,
have
yeah.
gone, by the way, subscribe to us. So yeah, it was good fun, and we were just talking about the impact of YouTube political commentary on wider discourse. So
God, you told.
I was arguing that this kind of the culture, and I tried to question. Maybe I could have done a better job of framing my question about this last night, but I tried to question Sargon on the impact of what he does, the kind of alternative media outlets, how constructive are they in creating solutions to actual problems that citizens face in society. My argument is that they have a fantastic platform and they do a lot of good stuff. For example, the Gamergate stuff that he did that got him famous is fantastic, and there's been a lot of stuff in critiquing Twitter, censoring people and this kind of thing. I think that all that work's fantastic, but there is almost zero emphasis on issues that are facing people in society. Actual issues that are facing working people, like like the classic policy problems, housing, wages, these kinds of with their benefits.
I don't think that's his jam, though. I don't
But-
think that's his area. He does the social kind of nebulous policy issues of free speech and censorship and stuff like that, and that is, it's less about the explicit policy problems, because he's not sat there talking about what the average everyday person faces. He's talking about a very niche thing, admittedly, but that does eventually trickle down and affect people, like censorship and like free speech.
I think he was talking about things that affect people on a daily basis, and I think a lot of it, he had good points, but when it comes to the solutions or how we actually solve these issues, like do you mention homelessness at one point? I feel like
don't remember
homelessness was
I don't
mentioned.
remember who mentioned it.
I don't remember
Maybe
anyone
it's me
talking
just
about that.
imagining it.
Yeah.
But it's not like a very constructive way to come up with solutions, but then you could argue that's not what he's here for.
So my argument is
Here for the
He's
meat.
not here to solve every single problem. He's a political commentator, and that's fine. But he's not a politician yet.
well, he's
He
part of
did.
a political party.
He is part of a political party, but that doesn't mean that he has to have solutions for every single issue.
No,
that
but so my
society
point.
faces.
my point is-
he has his area. He talks about them, and that's. I'm not saying he's completely flawless in that aspect, but I'm saying he talks about those specific issues.
No, but my point is that not that those issues aren't important. I think they're incredibly important. But the way in which a lot of these YouTubers tackle even those issues creates a very tribal world. It's about trying to get on those videos. Peter Hitchens destroys libtard student. Is that kind of culture that
Have
we've
you ever
got
watched
to.
of the Christopher Hitchens?
Yeah, they're amazing.
'Cause
I
those are
love
brilliant.
them. I love them. But because it's entertainment.
Yeah.
Um,
But that's what YouTube is. However, there is also the aspect that it
But
has
these-
the ability to influence.
These problems
Politics.
need solving, and it's the same issue I have with celebrities that have massive platforms and do not put any of their time into trying to fix the problems that we see in society.
I
They're-
don't think the onus is on them to do that, though. If they have
When
the
you have
ability and they want
influence-
to, yeah, but if they want to, I don't think it should be completely on them to do so because they have a big platform.
No, but I would like to see more of them doing it. I think that we should encourage.
It would be a bad thing. However, you do also get a bunch of stupid celebrities endorsing stuff. So you've got Jenny McCarthy and Jim Carrey using their platform to advocate
Yeah.
anti-vax
There is
movements.
the risk.
You don't.
And there's the risk of them, then the average person listening more to their celebrity idols, who, whilst they may be championing a good cause, aren't experts in the area, rather than, looking to traditional political figures, analysts.
So there's
who
there's I can't remember what her name is now. There's a singer, quite gothy, emo, like always in black. Like she doesn't vaccinate and.
Oh, Kat Von D.
Yeah, that's the one.
She's not a singer.
I don't know what she is.
Makeup artist, tattoo artist. She's got her own makeup line. But
Was
yeah,
she on it's like LA Ink or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
That was it. That was why it was so fucking retarded, because she's like, oh, I don't want to be pumping full of these chemicals.
It's
Like,
like
you're
you
injecting
literally-
ink directly
yeah.
into your skin, you fucking idiot. So yeah, I think it's a nice ideal.
Completely to go off topic.
Yeah, go on then.
You asked last night what his views were on government enforcing people to vaccinate.
Yeah, I've been.
What is your view on that?
This is why I asked him, because I wanted to get someone else's view. One, I also wanted to make sure he wasn't anti-vax, because there is always a tendency of, although he's, this is going to be something you maybe disagree with, I would say not right-wing, but there's a typical, like, right-wing people tend to be more anti-vax leaning, so I was a bit worried that he could have been a lot of, like, alternative media people tend to be anti-vax, so I was a bit worried that was going to be the case, because he never explicitly mentioned it. But I've been worried and conflicted about how you go about kind of encouraging vaccinations, because I don't know if mandating is necessarily. Originally, maybe like 2 years ago, I went, yeah, mandate it. You got to fucking mandate it. You have to do it. And then I'm like, is that really
It's
a
more
good idea?
grey, yeah.
It's, yeah, can you force people to do something that they don't necessarily want to do? And it's not about, they're my kids, I get to choose, because that's a fucking retarded argument as well. It's about whether you can force a young person who has no ability to consent to do something.
Yeah.
I think it ultimately comes down to a numerical sort of thing. Kind of reminds me of our conversation on nukes that we had in the seminar in a weird way. It's like, once it becomes a public health issue, like you've got what is becoming in the US at the moment with big measles outbreaks and all these ancient diseases coming back, like, it's kind of an imperative. Whilst most people were getting vaccines, it didn't really matter if there was, like the odd wacky family, because you had herd immunity.
You had to have a certain
but
percentage
once
of people.
it drops below that threshold, I think like it would be an emergency situation, and yeah, I'd be for mandatory vaccines.
It's like Robert fucking De Niro's anti-vax.
What?
Oh, what?
Really?
Yep.
Dude.
Fucking
I
celebrities,
think
man.
his child has autism.
Dude.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that makes it even worse. Like.
Yeah, there was somebody that was on Rogan's podcast recently that was who's a doctor, and he's got an autistic daughter, I believe.
Yeah.
And he was not anti-vax; he was very much pro-vaccine. And I haven't watched the podcast episode yet, but I wonder if they discussed sort of celebrities on that, because that's worrying. And that does come back to what I was saying, and maybe there is clearly a criticism to be made that you shouldn't trust celebrities more than anybody else. But I think my point was, when you have influence, you have a platform, you have
Responsibility.
even raising awareness, you have responsibility.
Yeah.
Especially when we have so many issues in society, and that's what I'd like to see more of a focus on. I always come back to policy.
Yeah,
And I would like to
policy,
see-
man.
No shit.
I would like to see more of an emphasis for people that do have platforms, online alternative media outlets, to move the window towards looking at policy solutions. And there is a bit of that, but and less of this kind of tribal response video.
So and so destroys.
Yeah,
so-and-so,
exactly.
slaps them down.
I know
agree.
you need to get views, and I know you need to build a platform, and there is a place for that, and I love debate, and it's my plan to start a channel myself, and I would probably do that stuff because it raises prominence.
Yeah.
But
And don't get me wrong, we're loads of people do it, and I think loads of people who don't necessarily, or people who are saying what you're saying, also do the same thing. Because I think like people like Tim Pool, as much as I like some of his stuff, his headlines are always so sensationalist on all of his videos, and I'm just
he's
like,
such a smart guy as well.
Yeah.
Such a smart guy, and has way more knowledge on these kinds
and
of censorship issues than most people do.
Quite knowledgeable, and he seems to retain information when he's read it and stuff. I do just come back to the worry about having celebrities who aren't necessarily politically inclined talking about specific policy issue, because you don't want that. Personally, I wouldn't want someone who has no backing in any kind of medicine or whatever talking about medical policies. I don't think that's it.
maybe not.
They could back
like organisations and the scientists.
If they want to do that,
yeah.
I'm totally for
Right,
that. That's
maybe
great.
that would be a better solution. You have somebody like Justin Wren, who's a UFC fighter, who co-founded a charity called Fight for the Forgotten,
Okay.
and it helps the pygmy tribes build and it educates them on building sort of more sustainable things like wells and this kind of stuff, instead of just going over and building like fishing rods, teaching them how to fish, instead of just
So it's almost
building stuff for
rather
them,
than
and they're like,
the
"Fuck
usual,
you." Yeah, it's education
That's cool.
for those tribes, and it works fantastically well.
Yeah.
And
That's
they
good, yeah.
create stuff and sell it, so there's commerce, they're teaching commerce and this kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's amazing.
See,
I
those
think
kind
a
of
lot of
things,
people-
initiatives, fine, yeah, go on.
I think a lot of people would still look down on that maybe and be like, oh, you're trying to socialise them into a world that they might not want to be part of.
Colonisation.
Yeah, there's a little bit of neo-colonialism,
Even in
white
something like
saviour
that.
complex.
Okay, so what
I
did
think people could make the argument. For
What
it.
did you make of the David Lammy white saviour?
Oh right, the
stuff?
So
whole,
the,
Yeah,
the,
for
the
comic
David Lammy
relief,
thing, yeah,
yeah.
David Lammy, was he Labour MP?
yeah. I think it's very.
So who was the woman
counterproductive.
he was criticising?
Uh,
There's a specific
she's a
woman.
documentary maker. Her name is. Do you know,
Yeah.
give it a Google. So
Was it
there was a
Stacey
picture,
Dooley?
Stacey Dooley.
Yeah.
There was a picture of Stacey Dooley holding
Stacey
a kid while she was out in Africa for comic relief, and David Lammy's argument was that this picture perpetuated the white saviour narrative that white people must go over to Africa and help. I think he said help the savages or something like that. Those were the sort of words that he used.
So that's placing a lot of kind of.
On poor Stacey Dooley, who's just
assumptions
gone
on
out
that.
there
She's
to
just gone and done
do a
something.
bit of
The
good work.
documentaries are
Like,
quite hard hitting.
they're amazing, yeah.
I highly doubt she would have been romanticising
Nope.
it. in
Don't get me
that
wrong,
way.
I don't donate to comic relief or anything
Neither do
like that, so I can't. I don't think we're in a really big place to super criticise the process and whatever, or support it necessarily. I don't. It's not something. I want
But
to
you
spend
can
my money on.
criticise it without moving to identitarianism, can't you?
But what's happened since he's criticised it is they've had an £8 million drop in donations.
Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of people are going, well, that's you. You've bought, like to David Lammy, you've bought this on. Don't get me wrong, the donations have been dropping year on year
Yeah.
for a while, but this was quite a steep drop that they've experienced.
But that's what he wanted, I think.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
it's-
really, that must have been his goal. If he's trying to
I guess
criticise it,
so.
then surely he doesn't
I
want
have
it
a
to be
feeling
So-
Sargon
successful.
did a video about this.
Comic-
Actually.
I think he might have done.
Yeah.
Comic relief, is that spent just within this country, or is that spent exclusively
I
on
thought
sort
it
of
was
foreign
African.
aid projects?
I think it's both.
I
I think it's
get-
both.
Okay.
Yeah, because is it Children in Need?
Yes,
That's
it's just
That's
in
just it, yeah.
I always get those two confused.
So
But-
yeah, their donations have been dropping steadily. Ironically, after the
I think people
after the
just
financial crisis, their donations went up,
wow.
and you would have thought like,
Wow.
because I saw a
Yeah.
chart, I think it might have been on the Sargon video or someone else did a video on it, and it showed like annual donate, like how much they got each year, and it went up around 2010, 2011, and it's been slowly dropping ever since. And you go, well, that was when the financial crisis was. Why has it gone up then?
It's just proof that all charities are a front for the bankers.
I was going to say, not taking a fucking cynical view on it, that maybe it was more of a, we feel more charitable when it's more everyone struggling,
Right.
maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Or maybe it's a front for the bankers.
Or maybe it's a front of the bankers, but yeah.
But I have a massive issue with his sentiments.
He's a twat. He's an absolute fucking idiot for saying that.
He's
Like,
a race baiter.
Yeah.
Like there's race baiters on both sides.
Oh yeah, of course.
And he's got a history of this sort of just inflammatory and divisive.
But
kind
again,
of-
yet again, like this criticism can be levelled everywhere. I feel like it could be levelled at alternative media outlets. It could be levelled at the mainstream media, and it could be levelled at MPs themselves. Why are you making things so divisive?
Yeah,
Let's
I agree.
change the narrative to work towards things constructively, and stop trying to find fingers to blame or people to blame. Stop wagging your finger at people and start.
Sorry, this is the fingers to
Fingers.
blame.
Stop finding fingers to
Your
blame.
analogies and a choice.
And start constructively talking about stuff. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna critique anybody, critique the charities themselves that aren't spending money properly, that are exploitative
Exactly.
in the areas that
But
they're in.
this
It's
is the
not the
world that we're
people's
in,
fault.
isn't it? It's the sensationalism, and everyone. It's not necessarily that people are for the sensationalism. It's that that's the only way they can get any kind of message out now.
But it's just like,
That's how the media
who
has
says
evolved.
that
and
white people are the only people who donate to Comic Relief? Like, is he drawing equivalence between white and British? Because then surely that goes against our sort of modern, diverse state that we're in.
Mhm.
So then are you criticising
Well, hasn't-
Black
Yeah,
Britons,
but
other
Lenny Henry-
minority
Lenny
ethnic
Henry's done loads
Britons
of
for
stuff for Comic
donating
Relief.
to
Yeah.
Comic Relief
Yeah.
as well? Because you're Western and you're... I don't know. It's just...
I don't know.
It's infuriating.
it'd be
purely
interesting to
because,
have
like
a
I said,
conversation
about
although I don't donate
There's
to
so
it,
many things you could go
he's
after charities
affected
for.
it. He's affected it.
Yeah.
He's saying, "Oh, we don't need any more white saviours." Well, maybe you want to go and ask the people who are receiving the aid,
Yeah.
who had now got less money to work with this
Mhm.
year than they did
Yeah.
last year, and see how they feel about that. Going, "Oh, yeah, he's protected you. Well done. He's stood up for you." No, he hasn't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he categorically has not done that, and he's fucked them over.
That's
big time.
identity
For sure.
politics for you.
Yeah.
I guess.
I, again, changing the subject completely. I've reinstalled Twitter.
Oh, didn't realise you got rid of it.
I've not used it for like 2 years.
Okay.
But
What do you think of it? Has it changed significantly?
well,
since
I
the last
went
one?
on there and I had like 44 notifications, and I was
I'm a
like,
bit sad about that.
I was like,
For 2 years.
no, but I was like, who has been
Ah.
talking? Like, I haven't tweeted since like 2015 or some bullshit. And it's been sending me stuff that people.
Yeah, you get updates of like this person tweeted this.
Yeah,
or
what's the point of having a feed then if it just is
It's
going
just
to
the
notify you?
algorithm. I guess
It's bizarre.
It's been.
it notifies you
Yeah.
on like the people that you like the most.
Right,
I
right.
guess.
That's-
So you retweet.
I
or
think that's a
look at
feature on
the most.
Facebook now as well, isn't it? Like, because I was getting
Yeah, it
occasionally
used
like
to be.
so and so updated their status. I'm like, well, I can fucking see that for myself.
Yeah.
Thank you. When I'm scrolling
Yeah,
through,
yeah.
I don't need a notification
Don't
specifically
spoil
sent
it
to
for
me.
me.
I just
Notify
turned
me
it
for
off. I just
everything.
turned off the notifications.
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
you
you
can just do
turn
that. So
off. You might
I
be
don't
able
know
to
why
do
they're
it with
doing
Twitter, but yeah, I'm not sure when they introduced that
Right.
actually.
I also unfollowed almost everybody that I'd followed before as well
You're
because I'd followed a bunch of
Yikes.
bullshit. My plan is to just use it like kind of like an RSS feed for news.
Yeah,
That's how
that's
I
what I
want
try
to use
and
it.
use it for.
For like filter good articles and opinions for people that
Mm.
actually know what they're talking about and that kind of thing. But I'm gonna try not to get dragged into.
The
Twitter
petty
wars.
Yeah.
squabbles.
Yeah.
It's so difficult.
And the minute I do that, I'm just gonna delete it again.
You've still got your
it's
iPhone,
like
haven't
a
you?
trial period, yeah.
set a time limit on it.
Yeah, but that I just ignore. I've got that on like my Safari for Instagram and Facebook because that's the only way I look at
Yeah.
those. And
But
I
I,
just,
I,
that's
like
just-
you can get someone else to set a password for it.
can
Because
you?
that's what I've done now. So Rhiannon has set a password for it, so that once that time limit's come up on it, 'cause before it used to just be ask for more time, and you get like a button that would just come up saying extra 15 minutes, extra hour,
Yeah,
turn on for the rest of the day. And obviously, if I was in the middle of doing something, I'd just go, no, I still want to carry on, and then I just do it for the rest of the day after
Yeah.
that. Now it's got a complete thing on it where I have to enter a PIN number, and it's not the PIN number to my phone. I have to set up a brand new PIN
Ah.
number for it. So I got Rhiannon to do a PIN number for it. I can't remember it. So every time I get locked out for the rest of the day, that's it. I can't do it. I cannot get on because
That's
I
nice.
cannot remember that
nice,
password.
nice.
So I'm
Okay,
locked
I'm
out.
gonna do that.
So get someone else that you know who's
Yeah.
going to be around in case you do need to get onto it. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes I've said to Rhiannon, like, you need to give me the password because I need to get on it.
Yeah.
Because I need to contact someone and I don't know like what their details are or whatever. And so she's had to do it. But I don't remember the password.
Nice.
So that's the best
Okay,
thing
that's
about it.
useful. So yeah, I'm gonna use it as a trial period.
Yeah.
And just say I've also gone vegetarian.
Yeah, I want to
Oh
talk
yes,
about
we
this.
were going to
Yeah.
talk about
So-
this.
Well, it's something that I've
Spill the
been
tea.
wanting to do for a while, and essentially eat corn products loads anyway because they're quite cheap and I enjoy
Pretty
them.
good protein.
Yeah,
source as
exactly.
well.
You
So
talk about Corn the brand.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
and it was just when I went out, I'd have like a bacon sandwich,
Songs.
or something like that. You know, like when I went out, I'd
Yeah.
eat meat and that kind of thing. But I wanted to go the whole hog. My friend Brett's
Good choice of words.
girlfriend is vegetarian, and she's been going on about it for ages. And she always gives
Unusual
me
for a vegetarian.
she
isn't it?
gives me loads of leaflets and that kind of thing, and
Yes.
it's like propaganda,
Embarrassing
the
you.
vegetarian propaganda.
No, I just like the choice of the words leaflets. Just little tiny little bits of leaf.
And she convinced me. Not only like for health reasons, but also because of the animal cruelty and the moral arguments. I don't think there is. I think that vegetarians, I'll be trying to be impartial, morally have the high ground. I think that if you want to make a moral argument, or you want to have a moral argument, I think vegetarians have that.
I'd say
in the bag.
Moral argument they have, environmental they have. The only one I disagree with is the health argument.
Yeah.
I think,
But
that is so personal. That is such an individual thing as well.
On the very nature of it, just saying you're vegetarian, not you personally, I'm just saying someone is a vegetarian does not automatically equal more healthy.
Nope.
It just doesn't. It can't because
you can eat shit tons of crisps or biscuits or whatever. Like there's loads of shit food that vegetarians can eat.
There's so many other factors that are going into it that are going to affect that. So
for sure.
I don't like it when people do go, I'm vegetarian, I'm more healthy than you, and whatever.
Bullshit, yeah. But for me, I feel I've been it's been like a week and a half now. I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I miss bacon. Like I was sausage rolls as well. Love a sausage roll in the library.
You can get pretty good vegetarian.
Yeah. I haven't tried the one from Greggs.
Don't get me wrong.
If
I was going to become a vegetarian, now would be the best time. I think more than ever before because you've got so much better options than before. Because I remember, I think my brother tried to be a vegetarian like maybe 10, 15 years ago, and it was just horrible. All the, what's her name? Linda McCarthy. All of her stuff was terrible.
Really?
Sausages now.
The burgers are good as well.
Because I remember my mum went out and my mum was going to support my brother doing it, so she went out and bought a load of vegetarian stuff for him, and it was just fucking awful. And he gave up after like a week or two, and we just had this freezer. No, luckily no. We had this freezer full of this shit for like a month.
It's pretty good now.
And now it's better. Yeah. I do agree.
I think that might be where the assumption of like being a vegetarian or a vegan and health comes from. Like it's a holdover from the past when there wasn't really vegetarian processed foods as much, or there was less of a range.
Well, there was less vegetarian like fast food type stuff.
So
that
you'd
was
almost be forced to
your vegetarian
cook for
stuff,
yourself and as a result use more whole foods.
Yeah, your vegetarian options were like grains, rice, seeds, nuts.
Which is a lot of the stuff that I've been eating the past week and a half. Which you know, I bet I have a massive salad at lunch or something like that. You know, it has kind of forced me to try and eat more healthier alternatives because I can't have like a chicken sandwich or whatever. Yeah. So if you're choosing those healthier alternatives, then it's fine. But there's so much veggie bullshit.
There's a lot of stuff now.
And if you're eating Greggs vegetarian sausage rolls every day, you are going to be fat.
Yeah.
You know, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. The other thing is the environmental thing is also a bit iffy because typically they actually use quite a lot of vegetarian products use quite a lot of soy, and soy is actually not fantastic for the environment. You need a lot of land for soy processing and stuff. So that's one of the arguments is if everyone became vegetarian, it'd be better for the environment. It wouldn't. It's not going to be fantastic. On the basis of you're going to get rid of all the cows and livestock, fine, that would be a good thing, don't get me wrong, but replacing it with soy isn't
they're
going to be
moving
fantastic.
away from complete soy dependency. Now, like we were talking about the Impossible Burger and the sort of actual in vitro meats.
Yeah, which I'm completely for.
They look like it's incredible.
I follow, I think, Impossible Burger on Facebook, and they look so good. I'm really hoping they open one up here, but it doesn't look like
lab grown meat as well.
Yeah, I love the idea.
We were looking into this, and it's come such a long way in the past 10 years. And in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to come even further.
And
so
then there's going to be the big ethics debate.
There already is.
Call it meat. It's already here.
Who gives a fuck what you call it?
Well, this is the thing though. People love semantics.
Yeah,
Do you remember what department we're in?
Yeah, it's true.
It's all about semantics.
If there was one thing only one thing I'd encourage people to eat less of, it would be beef, because that industry has a really negative effect on the environment.
Would you ever consider going the whole hog and going vegan?
I think I would like to, but it's too much, like cutting out. I'm still eating fish at the moment as well, I must caveat, so I haven't gone full vegan. I'm pescatarian. Pescatarian. So that was a little white lie, but that is, I want to phase out fish, and I just things like eggs, I don't know if I could do. Milk, I really struggle.
See, eggs and milk is tricky because they're in so
much
stuff.
They're in absolutely everything.
You're cutting your options in terms of non-packaged.
Have you ever had soy milk in tea?
It's
I'm
vile.
not, no,
Fuck
so
you.
I
If
don't
you
know.
drink
Vile.
soy milk in tea,
Sorry,
you're a
Rhiannon.
wanker.
Sorry,
Okay,
it's
isn't-
disgusting, and you
isn't
know
like
it.
almond or the other milks better?
Yes,
Rather
yeah.
than
They taste
soy?
better maybe on their own, but I wouldn't. I want if I want a cup of tea, I don't want it
Cup of
tasting like a
milky.
fucking almond.
Yes, me either.
So, but there are because I cut out regular milk for like a week and had lactose-free milk.
Mhm.
So it's still cow's milk, but it didn't have the lactose in, which I thought was fine. Tasted like milk.
Talking of diet, would you be happy talking about your
Yeah,
attempt to
yeah.
go meat and veggie
It's like
only?
3 days. It's 3 days.
So what were you eating? Like, take me through your meals.
So for the 3 days, well, for the first day in the morning, I had 2 burgers. They were just beef burgers. I think they literally had. I think it was 98% beef, and then like salt and pepper.
But they were awesome.
They were really nice. And then no sauces, no buns, nothing else on them. It was
Still
just
in
them.
the withdrawal phase.
So I just had them, and then what did I have for lunch? Lunch I just had a steak. I think I just grilled a pan fried a steak. Just had that.
Okay.
But in the morning when I'd done the burgers, what I'd also done was I put some diced beef into my rice cooker, which is basically like a slow cooker because it just once it's finished cooking, it just goes on to keep warm for the rest of the day.
Right.
So that was like really nice and moist, really good. So I had that in the evening. I think.
What
I
veg
might-
were you eating?
The first day I didn't have any. I bought a packet, like just a salad, just a mixed
Mm.
salad thing to have, and I didn't have that. So the next day I had the salad for breakfast, and then I think I went and got another steak for lunch that day. And then I had more diced beef for the dinner because it was just the easiest thing to do. And I didn't shit for the whole 2 days.
That's insane. That's so insane.
So
Yeah, that's not a lot of fibre in there. so
no,
I can't
exactly.
see
Which is
why.
obviously I'm dealing with bowel problems.
Yeah.
I don't want to not have
The
the
vegetables are the big thing as well. Like,
Yeah.
you have to ensure that you're getting like green
Yeah.
leafy veg in there.
In order to get your
Yeah,
micronutrients.
I mean, for some people, it's so incredibly successful, and this just shows that
I'm
one
very
of
sceptical of this.
But
I am very sceptical.
one
of
of
this.
the biggest issues I have with the whole diet debate is that it's again like most issues with conversation. It's so tribal. It's like this thing works for
Yeah.
me, and therefore it will work for you, and you need to try
You
it.
got the vegans,
And it's
the
like-
paleos.
Yeah, the keto guys
things,
and
yeah. The high carb,
Yeah.
low fat.
different things work well for different people. So
Yeah,
you need to encourage
everybody's
people to
different.
try as much as possible and find what works for you.
I agree to some extent, but there are going to be some kind of overarching
There's
universal things
universal-
that
Yeah, like
are-
sugar,
like-
for example. Like, if you eat loads of
Yeah.
sugar, you're going to be more.
If you
But
eat
also
solely
you
processed
cannot
foods,
just
it's
eat
not gonna
meat.
be good.
I don't think that's
Yeah.
safe.
But for some people, meat and lots of vegetables
Yeah, that's the
works
thing. And
incredibly
veg.
well.
If
Yeah.
it's and veg, that's fine. But the
Just
whole,
What
meat is-
about
that's
Jordan
crazy.
This is the
Peterson
thing, the
and
whole
his
thing with Jordan
daughter,
Peterson.
Are they literally just
No, they're meat and veg.
Apparently, they're just meat.
Really?
Especially the daughter. I
Yeah.
don't know what Jordan
But what
Peterson
is
did,
there?
but
Because doesn't the daughter have some sort of
Yes.
autoimmune disease?
she has arthritis.
Oh, which is an auto.
No,
It is
she,
an
she's got a
autoimmune
very,
disease.
very
No.
severe
It's a
issue.
specific
It's
strain, isn't
arthritis.
it? I gotta look
It's
it up.
they package it because I was looking into this. So they've packaged it as some mysterious autoimmune disease, but it's arthritis. I don't know if it's rheumatoid arthritis, but it's arthritis.
Hasn't she said that it's
Arthritis is an autoimmune
Yeah, yeah,
disease,
yeah.
so that's not.
She
not
said
the
that
issue.
it's cured her depression as well. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe that was a byproduct of
The-
being.
yeah, that's the thing, and I think she might have explicitly said that herself. She didn't know if it was necessarily that changing the diet has cured her depression. I don't know exactly, or if the cure, the relief from the pain that has come about from changing her diet has also helped
Helped
alleviate
her
the
mood.
depression, because that would be reasonable to assume as well. I don't, and there's a lot of current research that's going into diet and depression and
The gut
emotional
microbiome
stuff, and
is the gut
that's
microbiome
the big
research
thing
is
at the moment.
huge.
That's
Yeah.
the big thing at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The gut-brain link.
but
Yeah.
I think it's going
Three
to be way too simple to say like eating a certain food can cure your depression. I really don't think it's as simple as
Too many variables
if you
contribute
eat-
to depression.
if you eat this
Yeah.
food, it's going to cure depression.
Like
It's
this, the whole
really not gonna
superfood
be.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like this will change your life.
Yeah, it's never going to work like that, but people want to believe that
because it's simple, quick
nice,
fixes.
simple.
Yeah, and it's just not the
if
way.
I can just change my diet or change my diet by including one thing or eliminating one or two things, then I'm going to be super healthy. I know people who do that.
She has
It's
got
not worked.
It's rheumatoid
It's rheumatoid arthritis,
which is the I don't know if one's really better or worse.
I
But
can never remember
it's
which. But
the more horrible sounding ones
Isn't that I believe
where they get really inflamed.
that is the
Your
most
body
severe,
attacks your own
Yeah.
your own joints rather than just sort of wear and tear
yeah,
kind of arthritis. So I can see how that in your teens would be a lot more traumatic.
I think she
than
said it
like
since she was
a-
younger than that.
Yeah,
Um,
be more traumatic than like an old person with
Yeah.
arthritis.
because I think she had to have like was it a hip replacement
Yeah.
when she was really young,
Yeah,
like before she
something
was
Right.
12 or something. She had a
Crazy.
hip replacement.
If it has helped
But-
her, then fantastic. But
I mean,
I'm just skeptical. I'm always skeptical of health claims, and it's not. I don't think it's necessarily like a tribal thing of saying like, oh, you're wrong, whatever. I'm just always very skeptical when people
oh, it's
are
big business,
touting.
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's-
people are
there's
touting
lot
a
of money
certain
in
thing
it.
that's curing them,
Mm.
and obviously she's charging loads of money to.
Yeah, they never
have
just give the
conversations with
information
people
out
about
for
it.
free.
Yeah.
Somebody
do
that
they?
does that, and you know, maybe I'm a little bit too much of a fanboy. Is Joe Rogan? Something that he does
Yeah,
very
I
very
really
well.
like.
Is
I've been watching quite a few of his podcast clips. I never used to like it because I always found him a bit like, I don't know, just broy
Yeah,
and
yeah.
condescending. But I'm warm into him. Rhonda Patrick.
She's
Dr.
amazing.
Rhonda Patrick.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed the clips of her on it just because
Uh-huh.
she explains everything really sort of, you know,
Yeah.
fully but quite simply, but still referencing.
They're
all
some
the-
of my favourite ones.
all the
Those
sources.
and the ones with Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson. If you haven't
Haven't watched
seen
those
clips from
ones.
those, watch those because they're
I'll give
brilliant.
them a watch.
I reckon, like from what I've heard, I reckon Joe would enjoy those as well.
Yeah.
They're talking about mass extinctions, comet impact.
Oh yeah, I have.
hypothesis.
No, I think I have
Yeah.
seen one.
Fascinating
of those. One
stuff.
of them got glasses.
Yeah,
They do
I've
glasses.
got Graham Hancock's book. Oh, it's the second book that he released, and it's absolutely fascinating. So if you're interested, I can
Yeah,
recommend it to you.
definitely. But yeah, I mean, Rhonda Patrick, she goes off of the very sort of like basic, simple, just don't eat too much sugar, eat whole foods, and exercise. That
Mhm.
being like one of the key things. A lot of their discussions were on like obesity and stuff,
Yeah.
and how your genes are affected, and crazy news stories of like the benefits of being fat.
A lot of
How-
these,
like health
Yeah.
benefits of being overweight.
a lot of these conversations do happen around like the nuance areas, don't they? And quick basic fixes are things like, as you were just saying, cut out as much sugar as possible,
Mhm.
exercise, try and live a consistent lifestyle, 3 meals
Yeah,
a day, try not to
You need
snack
to have a bit of
sleep-
balance. It's
sleep
not the,
decently.
Yeah, it's not about only eating certain foods or not
Yeah.
ever eating other foods. It's okay to have a takeaway every now and then,
Mhm.
but it is
people
only
like black
every
and
now
white.
and then. So you need to have a bit of balance. You need to be having like enough fruit and veg. And don't get me wrong, I know I can't really say that with any credibility. But you do. These are really common things, and obviously it is stuff that is being researched into how certain diets are affecting you and whatever. But it's like when people say, "Oh, we need to cut out carbs. Carbs are terrible," and then you go, "Okay, well look at Japan. They're quite a healthy people. They're living the longest in the world, and they have
It's the
quite a lot
kind.
of carbs
It's
in
also
their
like the
diets."
There's
fish
the type of
content as well. Like
That's what I'm saying.
And
It's
clean
not just about
foods.
because that's the simplistic argument that people have developed. It's carbs are bad, so it's we'll just cut out our carbs and that'll cure all of our problems.
Mhm.
No, because you look at another country, they've got high amount of carbs,
Yeah.
but they also eat a better
It's
balance.
It's the
because
kind of
comes
carbs
from-
as well,
So it
and-
comes from an extreme, which has then trickled down
Yeah.
into like
Yeah.
diet magazines and shit. But
Yeah.
it's for people who are very overweight. Carbs are bad, and they can benefit from cutting them out
Yeah.
because they cause insulin
The,
resistance.
and the kind of carbs that they're eating
And
are
yeah, it's
like fucking
usually-
pizza
yeah,
dough.
Yeah, exactly.
really processed.
Yeah, you have some rice
Sugar
or
and
laden
bread.
with salt
potatoes.
and
Yeah.
sugar. But yeah, they can benefit from that because it helps with the insulin resistance and brings it down. But obviously, that's not like a panacea for everyone who wants to lose a little bit of weight.
Mhm.
I mean, you will lose a little bit of weight quick, but you'll probably put it back on quicker.
Well, that was the thing. I lost weight on that weekend when I had
Hmm.
only meat. I did lose like 2 or
How?
3
If you're
kilos. I don't
holding
know.
in
I
all
don't know.
this shit.
Just utilising it super
That's
efficiently.
amazing.
I lost 2 kilos on it, and since not doing that, I've
Mm.
gained it back straight
Yeah.
away. Literally straight away.
If I don't eat breakfast for like a few days or so, like the past few days because of being like too busy, I've just skipped breakfast. I haven't eaten until like 12.
Mm.
And I sleep so much worse. It's
Yeah.
like a weird side
Yeah.
effect of
Mhm.
I'll want to lay in so much more. I won't be up and like energetic in the morning. It's just,
Your
There's
body
certain
clock's
rhythms,
fucked up.
Yeah.
and I don't like it when people say rhythms because it does sound like one of those
but it's circadian rhythm. Is
health buzzword type things, isn't it?
But
But
it
there are
is an
certain
actual
rhythms. I think I was
thing.
reading something this morning about that actually. That was you need to be eating at certain times of the day because your body prepares you to
Mhm.
do those
Yeah, I
things.
think we forget how intricate a process
Yeah.
For sure.
it is, like digestion, meal times and stuff.
Yeah.
Your body automatically prepares you to be eating, so it starts the digestive process at a certain time, which is why you often wake up feeling hungry, even if you ate and you didn't have that much like kind of
Time.
sleep or whatever. You wake up feeling hungry.
although, and this is where we get into the more nuance of it. You can change your body's need
Yep.
to eat at a certain time.
And you can.
So things
and
like
that's a good
intermittent
thing.
fasting
Yep.
do that,
And
but
you
it takes a
can do
long
that.
period.
It's a long
And
long
you've got to
period.
be consistent.
And it's got to be
Yes.
consistent, and you've got to stick to it. And it's very difficult, and depending on how you do it, it can be really, really bad. So people on night shifts who sleep during the day, they've got like a much lesser life expectancy because of the fact that they're eating at night. They're not getting the sunlight, so they often have to
Yeah.
supplement like vitamin D,
And that will
it,
mess with
yeah.
your.
Yeah.
it messes
circadian
all
rhythms,
your
I
cycles because you're going home as the sun's rising and you're going to sleep as the sun's rising, and
And
it
we're
really
not
fucks you
We're
over.
not nocturnal.
No.
No.
Like, genetically.
So change the subject. I want to talk about the Putin thing.
Okay, yeah.
So
This is
yesterday-
probably the most political. we've
Yeah,
got
let's
so
do
far.
actual politics for a change. Putin, I don't know if you saw, Putin banned fake news.
It's like an actual law, isn't it?
He's
like
just
it's
made a
been
law,
written into
yeah.
law. There was that and another one, and then they're currently trying to do the like shutting Russia's internet off from the rest of the internet
Right.
effectively, directing it through government servers only.
Okay, I've not heard this one.
Yeah, do you not remember it came up a couple of weeks ago in
No.
the autocracy?
Oh no, I
seminar?
don't remember that.
So similar, people are drawing comparisons between like China's
Mhm.
Great Firewall, but yes, clamp down on the
And
internet.
yeah, well, it's ridiculous on numerous levels, isn't it?
Mhm. I mean, it's kind of to be expected though. Like
Yeah.
Russia is known for its cyber savviness
Yeah.
and their cyber attacks, so it makes sense that they would be like, we're not going to let this potential weapon be used against us.
Yeah.
So what they've actually done is he signed a
And we're
bill. I
gonna
think it's like a
dissent so I can stay president forever.
I think it's some weird like internet bill of rights, but it's basically you're not allowed to criticize the government or ministers or officials or whatever if they deem that it's fake news.
So
And it's
basically
I think
anything
that there was a
they're
caveat of it had
offends
to be
their sensibilities.
yeah, it had to be there was a caveat of it had to be socially prominent. So there had
So
to be
it
like
had to
How
be-
vague is that?
yeah, exactly.
Are there still going to be people arguing that Russia isn't authoritarian state? No.
Probably.
I don't,
Probably.
yeah, you're
They'll
an
probably
idiot if you still
compare
are.
it to the Snoopers chart.
But the problem is there are
the same
people.
thing.
Yeah, but there are people in the West who want to ban fake news and say anything like that, and then you get into the argument of, well, who's deciding what's
Mhm.
fake news?
How do we tackle these problems though? Because there is no doubt that the spread of misinformation has become more prominent,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always happened. It's happened with
Print
media,
TV, whatever. Yeah,
propaganda,
This is what we were
spin
talking about
doctors,
today,
this kind of
so,
thing. But
yeah.
how do we work towards a society that is more aware of these kinds of things? Like, is it just education? Do you think?
Yeah,
I think it's
Or-
gonna come back to
teaching
education.
critical thinking.
Yeah.
You need to
is
teach them
literally
critical thinking. You
main
need to teach
thing.
them in schools how to spot sources
Wow.
that might not be as
I was
legitimate.
thinking this even at the Sargon thing that we were at last night. If I'd have gone to that even like 2-3 years ago, I probably would have been swayed by all of his arguments, 90%, because he is a very good orator.
Yep.
He, had lots of examples to back things up. But if you are able to put a critical eye over it, like I think he was using one example of the Rotherham rape gangs and
Mm.
how a girl, she got picked up and raped, and then she got
Escaped,
away, and then
there was, like,
another
2 or
guy
3
picked her
times,
up,
yeah.
and then I think another one picked her up. I was like, well, this is sounding very sort of almost just made up.
Yeah.
And how
Did you-
are you going to back this up? I haven't googled
Right.
to see if it was a legit story,
Yeah.
but I think teaching just really simple sort of critical thinking skills,
Yeah.
it means people can still engage. We don't need to go around banning everything,
Yeah.
but they can still engage with it without being really easily sort of led down the garden path.
Because I think Sargon himself said it's a really tricky path of how do you decide what to ban, like people's speech and
But yeah,
people's
information itself is never neutral because there's someone deciding what information is getting put out there, which is more prominent and which is less
Yeah.
prominent.
Because I would love to ban fucking anti-vax
Yeah.
information being spread online, but you kind of go, well, am I only saying that because I'm anti-vax and that's my opinion? I'd
But
like
then
that.
it can make you quite angry because it's like, oh, sorry, I'm anti-children dying prematurely.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard
Well, that's the
when
thing,
you
there's-
feel
there's-
that you're
yeah.
so strongly in
Yeah.
the
There's an
right.
argument about not calling them anti-vax because that sounds like a nice label, and started calling them stuff like pro-disease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why not?
Vaccine
Polio
deniers.
That but as a strategy to fight
To
people
reframe
with
the-
those
the
views, that is a
context, yeah.
fantastic thing to do.
And I've had an image once. I'll see if I can find it. It was a whole list of these different names you could call them that was like really good punny titles. And I was like, yeah,
We can't. This is the thing is that this is what when we talk about like taking over the conversation, or reframing the conversation. Like we need to stop legitimizing these kind of views. And when I say we need to stop legitimizing them, I mean that we need to debate them in a proactive way. We need to do things like fight, conversate with anti-vaxxers,
yeah,
and say to them, "You're pro-disease." That is essentially what you're arguing for.
yeah,
Instead of talking about just banning them, I don't want to hear it, therefore I don't want to listen to it. No, educate yourself to the point where you can actually have discussions about these things and challenge people
Yeah.
on their ideas, and that's how you overcome a lot of the problems, I think. But the spread of misinformation is, I think, something that isn't going to go away, and without
Definitely not.
putting forward more authoritarian legislation towards the media.
And this is where I started going. I don't know what to do now
We
because I
can't-
don't want to
we
go
can't
there.
stop it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
we
don't
can't
want to go
stop
down
it.
that route because that's completely antithetical to what I want.
Yeah.
I think it's YouTube started putting in stuff. So if you start searching for conspiracy theories, you get like a
Yeah,
little thing
there'll
come
be
up
a
at the
little
top
Thing pop up.
to say this is a conspiracy theory. Or
I don't even know how effective that will be though for people who maybe
if
for
you
people who
believe
are
the
on
conspiracy theory
edge,
already,
you're going to be like, oh well,
You're
this
gonna go,
is
"This is
a
proof."
deep state.
yeah. So
you can
it's
turn anything
yeah, it's
into
really
proof.
difficult, and I don't know. I really don't know how. I don't think there's going to be one simple quick fix that you can
Yeah.
do, or I don't even think you can necessarily bring in a law because banning stuff doesn't work.
Yeah, banning is
Like we know that doesn't
not the
work.
way.
Why do we think it'll work with information even though it hasn't worked with anything else we've ever tried? Really.
Yeah.
And I don't think that just constantly telling them that they're wrong in a certain belief is necessarily going to work because that is part of the
That
division
feeds
is
their
gonna-
narrative
yeah.
almost. Yeah, it's engaging in an effective way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the difficulty, and I think the best way to start with that would be finding some common ground
yes,
sure.
with
and this
whoever
is
you're talking to, because then
the
that humanises you.
the
in their
conspiracy
eyes.
rabbit hole book that I was reading last year, where he talks to people who believe in conspiracy, like 9/11 conspiracies and chemtrails and whatever, and that's one of the things he suggests. He's like, you need to start by finding out what you agree on the particular subject. So it could be that you're both worried about pollution. So in regards to like chemtrails, or whatever, you're both worried about pollution. So you start talking about that and see what you agree on, and then you can start discussing the more. Well, is that a kind of pollution? The chemtrails are pollution? No, because this is what they are. This is what they aren't. This is what they used to be. Like, and then develop it rather than just going, well, no, of course you're fucking wrong. What are you talking about? That doesn't
Or
work.
rather coming
That's not gonna
straight
work.
at them with this is not what chemtrails are.
Yeah.
Showing them that you're kind of.
So
Facts do care about your feelings.
yeah, this is what I kind of wanted to.
Yeah, we need to bring some compassion back into this.
And that's a fucking autistic person saying
Yeah.
that.
Right, and this is what I wanted to question sort of Sargon on a little bit more last night, and this was my point, was is this what we're doing? Are we engaging effectively, or are we?
Yeah.
He said that when he mentioned going into politics, and I know this was a joke, but I think this kind of underpinned a lot of what his thoughts were about. He was incredibly nice guy, very articulate, very
Yeah, he
intelligent,
seemed very-
fantastic.
very
Really enjoyed listening
polite.
to him speak. But what I found was what underpinned a lot of his thoughts and ideas that were articulated very well was this urge to piss people off.
Mhm.
But
And-
I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong
No,
with that.
but at the same
I
time,
don't think it's constructive.
it isn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
It is. So there becomes like
But he
a,
doesn't necessarily
a-
have to be constructive.
no, but
Yeah.
there comes an element of hypocrisy.
Yeah, and I think that's
And-
a
If you're
fair enough.
arguing that other people aren't being
Yes.
constructive, but then
The,
you yourself
the
are
regressive
also-
left.
Well, no, because I think there's a distinction to be made that he's getting involved in politics, especially you can do that, but his roots are from shitposting online
Yeah.
and just doing videos, where I think it's not, the onus isn't on him to provide solutions to problems and to be better than it all.
You can
He's
still be
just-
critical of the process that people take. You're like,
Yeah.
I can be critical of shit posters.
Yeah. But he's just sat there going, well, these guys are talking nonsense. But he's talking about politicians or people, like influential people. And obviously, he's come from his background of not being that influential. And I
Yep,
think
yep.
maybe, I'm not speaking for him, I would argue that maybe he's still trying to reconcile he's got a bit more influence now, he's got a bit of, quite a bit of a following now, people who take him seriously, he's getting more involved in politics, but he's still got that root of, he's a shitposter.
Yep.
And I think he would still regularly say himself that he's a shitposter.
But when
so-
you listen to people like Christopher Hitchens, when he would debate people, and he would just fucking just annihilate them, but he'd do it in such a beautiful, poetic way. That is constructive. Or Richard Dawkins is another example. There is a fucking hilarious video that I watched last night of Richard Dawkins reading out hate mail. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, I think I have.
It is
yeah.
amazing. It is so fucking funny. But when you see him debate people, you can put people down. You can dunk on people in a productive way.
A constructive
Yeah.
way, yeah.
Instead of just kind of being a provocateur.
I think
I think that I don't know, and maybe I don't know how much you've seen of his stuff and other debates that he's done, but from what I've seen of him when he has had a few debates with other people, there has been a bit more of a not just name calling and saying you're
Yeah.
wrong and whatever, and has
Yeah.
gone, why don't you look at this? Why
For
don't you do that? So I think there is this division of still going, well, he's just this way, so we don't need to take him seriously.
I think we definitely do, and I think he's got some very interesting ideas,
Yeah.
and he's somebody that I'd like to talk to again.
Yeah, same.
But I think there is a legitimate criticism to be made towards that. Try and move. He's got absolutely no need to do this at all, and I think that he's built up a very influential platform by being a shitposter, and so have many people. But also, I think that if we want to get anything done in the move towards holding people in power to account, posting videos on YouTube is one thing. I don't know, he's started to do this more, but we need to take the next step
yeah.
in what we plan.
But obviously that's a collective thing, and he's doing at the moment what he thinks is
For sure.
the best path.
Yeah,
And obviously
yeah.
it's a slow process. I don't know what his personal life's like, because I think he's got a kid. Or
Two, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Is he? He's not married, is he?
I believe he is.
Oh, is he? I didn't see a ring. Not that I've got a ring,
good
but I didn't see a ring.
I didn't look.
Checking for it.
Well, no, because I knew that he had kids.
On
so
his
when I saw
Wikipedia
him,
page, I believe it says that he is married.
okay, it could be that. I'm not
But I
don't
don't
really
know.
care either way, but
you gonna
so I don't
propose?
know. I don't know. No. So I don't know what his process is. Maybe he hasn't got the time commitment to. So I know over the last year, maybe nearly year and a half, he's been doing a lot more public speaking engagements.
For sure. Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
doing a lot.
Okay, he
more
came
stuff.
here, you know.
Yeah. And immediately had an interview today with Peter Hitchens.
Yeah.
Prick. You got one.
Yeah. Yeah, we said that to him last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steal my thunder, dude.
So yeah, I think he is doing something, but I don't think we have to put all the
That's
onus on
not
him
my-
to go even further
Yeah,
and
yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
more.
No,
because
and
I
it's
don't-
not necessarily on here. I don't want it to make it seem like this is just a criticism towards him.
Yeah.
Because
Collectively, yeah,
it is
we all
just
have to do more
the
collectively, definitely.
I
But I
think
think it's a very slow process.
it's-
We can't all launch straight into we all need. to
No,
do
no,
this
and he
Yeah.
is doing more. He is going to
Yeah.
protest. He went to that Brexit betrayal rally. He went to.
He posts a lot.
He
of
does lots of UKIP talks. I know.
What, the march? Did you see the picture of Nigel?
Oh, no, fucking
His
loser.
long coat
Yeah.
and his
But no, he
New
does stuff like
Balance
that.
tree.
Yeah, and it's good.
He
Any
does-
kind of
He shares
activism.
quite a lot of petitions and stuff online to get involved in donation campaigns and whatever. So I think that is something that he's doing, and a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
other
yeah.
people in that community
Oh.
do that as well.
Oh, they
No,
are?
They
Okay,
are.
okay.
The people, at least
Yeah.
a lot of the people that I follow
Okay,
do.
okay.
So
I think in general, like just to bring it back to the internet as a whole, the internet and politics are kind of like a perfect storm for tribalism to
Yeah.
just sort of fester and
echo
grow.
chambers and filter
Yeah, echo
bubbles.
chambers, filter bubbles, algorithms. It's so much easier as well to just write someone off that you don't agree with as like, oh well, they're an
You just
idiot.
block them.
Oh yeah, just block them rather than
They're saying what they
finding
don't
out
like,
what
yeah.
you have in common and trying to reconcile that with your differences.
I just really want us to try and move away from that. I don't know necessarily what the solutions are, but
I think
I think it's so
more
damaging.
real world activism
yeah,
is
absolutely.
necessary.
Yeah. And like
People
face to
need
face conversations, like
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily more real world activism. Face to face is great and everything, but I think there is the internet as a space for activism
Yeah, it
and
still has value. as
whatever,
a space
but
for
it's
activism.
not you have to
Not
move
good enough
beyond
on
Yeah.
its own.
owning someone online,
Mhm.
because I think that's what it's come down to,
Yeah.
hasn't it? Is
Yeah.
they need that, and that's part of the media's fault as well, I think, and it's been exacerbated by social media, and specifically Twitter, where you've only got limited. I think he was saying it last night, wasn't he? You've only got those limited
Yeah.
amounts of characters to use. You just want to get something across really quickly, and that's going to be a
You want
sensationalist
something quippy
piece of
and-
like hate normally, isn't it? I fucking disagree with you. You're a fucking idiot. You don't often get a lot of constructive.
you see lots
you
more
do if you know where
feeds
to
now,
look.
right?
If
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
where to
And they
look,
get
you
less
get
attention,
a lot of,
don't
they?
a lot
Yeah.
of good threads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're quite. That's
That's what I meant.
mostly
Feeds. I'm like a
feeds.
fucking granddad.
Get a lot of
Get
their
lots of
feeds,
nice
don't
feeds.
you?
Been off it 2 years and has, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. now,
Threads.
old man.
Nice
Threads.
tweets on Twitter.
Nice threads.
But yeah, threads are really. That's mainly what my feed is full up with.
Yeah.
It can get a little bit annoying because you're like, especially if you read one that's like halfway through a thread and you're like, what the fuck? Where is this coming from? But
But that's the nature of Twitter, isn't it? You've gone on there expecting short
mhm.
Yeah.
things, and
It's the dopamine hit, right?
Yeah.
Of like
Yeah.
yeah, it's
poning
an
a
addiction.
a Brexiteer, which is what I plan to be doing with the rest of my day.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go home and just
Don't blame you.
tweet Brexiteers. Should we talk about Brexit or should we?
I think we're all kind of done now.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. All right.
we need an update after because Theresa May's fucking herself
Yeah,
over. She's gonna
w-
quit. Isn't she?
Let's see what happens.
Okay. We can talk about it next week when everybody's here.
Yep.
I'll be at the second referendum march this weekend on Saturday.
Okay.
So if anybody's going, not that this will be up
Hit
before
them
that, so I
up.
don't know why I'm saying that, but
yeah,
hit me
that's
up.
way too optimistic
Um,
to think it's gonna be up.
But yeah, apart from
Yeah.
that, have a great week, and we'll
Cool.
see you all in the next episode.
Yep.
See you
Bye-bye.
next
Bye.
time. Bye.